Oh, well, where we are again. Welcome to Iron Crown Enterprises Middle-earth role-playing game system, or MERP, or the Fat Man's revisitation thereof. This is, as promised, the southern half of Misty of the Mirkwood, or Greenwood the Great, however you want to look at it. When they were originally put out, there was two of them. There's Northern Mirkwood, which, if you look at the entry I put in there last winter, went through a bunch of drama at my home, anyway, and had to have it replaced. And then the southern half, of course, I finally got around to it. This is, then there is the third source book, which is basically the Wilds of Rhovanion, which is Mirkwood in a condensed form. This is where they've taken both of these two books, the northern version and the southern version, and combined them in a single book. I'm not sure why they did that, but this particular one, the lion's share of the material here is dominated by Dol Guldur, which makes sense because Southern Mirkwood is under the influence of Sauron and his minions, and has been for some time, or people that are associated with him and or have just dark intents. Plus these very large number of giant spider colonies that inhabit the area make it a very treacherous location just because of those three reasons, let alone the regular stuff that you'd find in a very dense old forest. And so the gradual changeover from Greenwood the Great to Mirkwood can directly contributed to what's going on in the southern half of it, although there are a couple sites in northern Mirkwood that add to the problem. And those are also related to Sauron, and indirectly or directly. So, it's ironic to think that everything in Middle-earth is attributed, that's bad, is attributed to the Dark Lord and or indirectly to Morgoth. Well, we know for a fact that Shelob is the descendant of Unglet, or Unglet, however you want to do it, the demon of darkness, who's a spider, and have their own agendas, which have absolutely nothing to do with Sauron or any of his ilk. But it is something that just seems to get, if it's bad, it all gets attributed to the Dark Lord. It just seems to make it more convenient to deal with, which is fine. Okay, whatever have you. But like I said, as source books go, it's a lot of good information in here. It can be broken down into primarily three categories. The back half of the book easily is dealing with Dol Guldur, its layout, its interior, its interior, so on and so forth. Then you have Woodland Town and the Woodmen who inhabit western and eastern edges of Mirkwood in the southern Mirkwood, which is ironic considering how dark and dangerous the center area is, that these thriving communities have managed to hold on and thrive in some degree. I mean, it's just some interesting balance going on there. We've also got Rose Gulbul, Ragagas home. A nice early picture of it. See the tree growing up through the center. So when they did the creation for Peter Jackson's movies, I strongly believe that they tapped into some of this stuff, because a lot of these things seem to be quite similar to what you see in the movies, or the movies are quite similar to what you see here. So, although their appearances of Ragast is quite different from what they originally, what the movie has him as. I like the movie version of him better when it comes to his physical appearance. His habits are probably the same. Well, and then you got touches on Gondor's eastern holdings at the time of the 1640, which is when most of the timeline in these books are set, about 1,000 years before the War of the Rings. Touches on the burnings, the bear guys, the bear changers that live in the west along the river valley, and the politics of the eastern plain to the east. But for the most part, we're dealing with Dol Guldur and the inhabitants in the surrounding area. Good stuff. Section on flora and fauna, typical of MERP, birds of Rose Gulbul, Nice whole entry here on the Beijabar, or the Bearings. Beijabar, however you choose to pronounce that. Beijabar, Beijabar, or the Bearings. Guys turn into bears. The Earthium, the northern group that will eventually become the Rohirrim. Their military structure, the urban Northmen, the woodmen of the southern Mirkwood, the woodmen, the Easterlings, the elves of southern Mirkwood, which there are a few. There are actually a number of Easterling tribes that are distinctly different from each other. Legacy of the dwarves, of course, the orcs, the Necromancers, orcs. Power and politics in southern Rohirrim. Darkness of the Necromancer, Sauron's presence, the nature of the Necromancer, Sauron's servants, the presence of the ring, the trolls, Ragast. Ragast the Astari, the Lords of the Free People, Gondor's Overseer, the Gag, Princess of the Plains, Mithrad, Erdix the Thane of the Witheros. Lots of stuff going on here. Woodman Town, ways of woodcraft, daily life of the Woodman Town, homes among the Beijabar, the Northmen's homestead on the plains, Dol Guldur. No visitor to Southern Rhovanion can escape the disturbing shroud of Dol Guldur. It dominates the landscape almost as the evil eye were gazing out from deep within. Very few have hazarded a visit anywhere near the place of the accursed peak, so only the wise have any inkling as to why the naked hill exerts such a force of evil. Jeez. The dungeons and storerooms of Dol Guldur, treasure cave, the Necromancer of Guldur, under the alias of Sauron Mortar, and his stats. His level is 240, 600 hit points. Tough hombre. Tough hombre. Dol Guldur, in detail. You know, all the fine trappings thereof, detail room by room. That's why I said probably back half of this book devoted specifically to this particular location because it makes such an impact on the region. Okay, there you have it. Southern Mirkwood. Rough place to play.